You're listening to the 4-Phase Cycle Podcast with your hosts, Dr. Alex and Megan of ZESTY Ginger. If you're looking to naturally balance hormones and learn how to work with your body instead of against it, you've definitely come to the right place. As a duo of an integrative MD and a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and best friends, we use the 4 phases of the female cycle in combination with functional lab work and mindset practices to transform the lives of the women we work with.
We also have a whole lot of fun along the way. If you're new around here, it's best to start with season 1 before jumping around and plan to roll up your sleeves. Showing up for ourselves and enjoying our lives is what good health is all about. Just a quick reminder though, this information is not intended to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor before making changes.
Hello. It is Alex here. It is day 17 of our Flowing with Your Cycle podcast series. Thank you so much for being here. We are in phase 3. So we're talking all about really getting into clarity about how to keep moving things forward from where we have come in the cycle, which was in phase 1. We got really clear on where we were and where we're going. Then phase 2 was moving things along powerfully. And now phase 3, we are following up with consistency and action. And so today we're going to talk about streamlining your experience in many different ways, right? Because that is the goal when it comes to flowing with your cycle. It's how do I have the most success with the least amount of my effort, which is, to be fair, a completely new way of thinking compared to what we were taught, which is hard work equals results. And many of us grew up in that space. A lot of us were quite successful with that formula, and now we've gotten to the part of our lives where that strategy that used to work for us is now not only not working for us, but it really is actively keeping us from our goals. And then the invitation is to broaden the toolkit. This is not saying that you don't work hard in any capacity at all. It's very handy to have the ability to have a great work ethic, to stick with your goals. All of that is still true. And, think back to what you've done in your life so far. You've probably had some really great outcomes with that. So there's nothing to kind of feel ashamed about or feel bad about or anything like that. And we don't have to attempt to rid ourselves of who we were completely. This is just making the conscious choice of, okay, I know that now. When do I want to strategically use it? And when do I have other tools at my disposal to keep me moving forward, right? This is a big topic when it comes to feeling bad about ourselves and then beating ourselves up. Most of us, or many of us, were motivated through our parents comparing us to other kids. Maybe it was us comparing ourselves to other athletes or how other people did in school or whatever it was. And then the guilt and the shame and beating ourselves up or someone else doing that to us, being very critical, was there, or our way of loving ourselves enough to say, like, work harder, get motivated, right? It was often coming from a good place, trying to get us, like if it was our parents or maybe it's ourselves internally are really hard on ourselves, but it was coming from a place of wanting to be better, and that was the strategy that we had at our disposal. I invite you to think about whether that is true for you, right? And whether being critical is the way that you motivate yourself to get to where you are, right? Like if you're like, if I just acknowledge enough that I think I'm fat, then I'll be motivated enough to lose weight. And again, this is another one of those topics that, while that's logical in some areas of our lives, if that stuff would have worked in all areas, we would have already met our goals. So we really have to question, is this an area where I want to apply this strategy? is this a time in my life that I want to apply this strategy or not? Because if it's not the time, well, let's not be using broken strategies for certain aspects of our lives when they have a time and a place and work perfectly well for other things, and we just need to use them appropriately, just like a knife or a spoon or a fork. They're just different and used for different things. That's all it is to it. We don't think a fork is better than a spoon or vice versa. The same is true for how we believe, how hard do things have to seem, and how hard do we have to prove to ourselves that we're working in order to feel like we are worthy of accomplishing our goal. And that is why this concept of streamlining all parts of our lives comes in, because there are ways to streamline our physicalness and the way that we approach ourselves. There are ways to streamline approaching our emotions or our mental state, right? This is the question of, how do I allow things to feel easy? Or even one step up a notch in belief is, how do I allow things to be easy? Not just feel easy, but actually have the belief that they are easy. And there's lots of layers here, which is so handy that there are cycle after cycle after cycle in which we work with ourselves and explore what we really believe. Because in my experience, and everyone that what we've talked to about this, that we hear back from, is that this process gets a lot easier as it's an interplay, the beliefs shift a little bit, right? You may be hearing me and you're like, oh wait, I have been doing that. Now the doors open a little bit. Now the streamlining process and the ease and flow of things can shift a little bit. Then with the feedback from that, you're like, oh wait, that didn't feel that hard, and I got the outcome I wanted for that small thing. Cool. Where else can I apply that? How else can I make my life feel easier? Right? So streamlining is the name of the game today, and really I think of streamlining as a flow, ease and flow in every part of our experience. And I think of it like a rain shower, sort of washing away the things that may get sticky or old or outdated, or they've, their time has come, releasing what is filling up space, taking up energy, triggering us, and allowing those things to begin to get washed away in the flow of this concept of ease and approaching life like that. Okay? So sometimes when it comes to this work, when we are really stuck in that feeling of like everything feels like I have to work so hard, this is where sitting quietly at night, there's like energy flow meditation, sometimes where you see light coming in through the top of your head, flowing out to your body, carrying with it any energy that we have stuck, and releasing it out from our feet into the earth to be recycled. Sometimes that alone, even without any application to our physical life, can be very powerful, in that as we allow things to leave, kind of the dead weight to fall off, the clarity, then the clearness of, okay, what next, can really come through. This is also the other extreme, is physicality. Sometimes what this looks like is streamlining our environment. Is there clutter that gets in your way, right? Is it when you walk into your office to do work, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and you have your kids' suitcases in there, and there's boxes that you haven't unpacked from moving into your house. So obviously mom's office is storage, or whatever it is. How can the space be streamlined so that when you walk in, it is a flow energy where you are at ease in your surroundings, rather than you walk in and you're smacked in the face with like, here's all the stuff I haven't done, here's all of the extra things that are weighing on my heart, on my brain, so that it's impacting everything else that I need to do. Right? Sometimes streamlining is organizing files on your folder, right? Going on your computer and getting rid of stuff you don't need, making it easier for you to find the things that you routinely need for your work or for your business or for your kids, right? Getting things in order. And then also, just as a reminder, when we're doing the more physically focused things, that's where it can be really easy to feel like you're slogging through it. This is where yesterday's mention of fun really comes into play. Now, energetically, let's say you're at the place where you're sort of allowing the energy flow meditation and that kind of work to happen. Don't forget that that is an invitation for fun too. So sometimes when we release things, we feel lighter, and it's easier to bring in fun and enjoyment into a process like that. So the peeling away of things and the streamlining of things, really the one question that you can ask yourself for this is, how do I bring ease, flow, and fun into X? And whatever it is that's coming up for you that fits with your goal, right? You're doing the activities now in phase 3 that you know are supporting the massive action that you just took and the main goals in which you are directing your life and all of the ways that you're doing that. So with this, it's as we invite ease and flow into it, that will put us on the river. It's kind of like the sensation. You're standing in the river and you have cinder blocks for shoes. And you're standing there and you're kind of like, well, I'd really like to move down the river, but man, these shoes are really heavy. Streamlining is the process of freeing your feet from the cinder blocks, flopping onto your back, floating, and letting the river take you where you're going, because you picked the river, right? We're often standing in the river we picked, being like, why can't I float along it? When we absolutely can. It's often all of the extra gunk around us when we haven't streamlined that makes it feel so cumbersome. So in any area that you're working on, no matter what it is, how can ease and flow and letting things feel and be as easy as possible in the process, what does that look like for you? And that, my friends, is a really, really amazing question to ask. Sometimes getting into water can help us with that. So when you're listening to this, if it's still warm and you live around water, go for a swim. Check it out. How does interfacing with water feel like? Or you get in a shower, you get into a bath. What does it feel like to float in your bathtub or stand under the shower and let it wash over you? These are very simple activities, but when we're bringing intentionality to them, that's where we can learn a lot from our environment. It's the same as watching kids. There's water, we're a whole bunch of water, our planet is a whole bunch of water, right? When we ask, how do I create ease and flow, and we interface with something like water, there's lots of lessons that we can have from that, the same way we can learn from animals around us. You ever watch a cat chill? Like a cat is ultimate ease and flow. They don't do anything that doesn't feel like fun. Now, we didn't come as a cat. We still have to pay our bills and, do that, feed the kids and do whatever. However, we can certainly have components from that and learn. No one says like, oh, it's silly to look at my cat and have a realization. And the same thing is not, I look at water and I realize things and I learn things about myself. Not that kooky of an idea. It's just that, we just don't talk about it as much. We don't learn about it as much, but there's really wisdom in all of the even mundane portions of our life and our surroundings. So don't discount some of those things just because, you haven't tried it yet. No problem. Maybe now isn't the time to do it, but later that could be an invitation for you to explore. So have fun doing this. This is really a gratifying experience when we realize, oh shoot, I have been the one that makes things harder than it needs to be. Now, if you're like me and you grew up being very critical about yourself because of adults and whatever, it's really easy to go down to, oh my gosh, I'm the one that's ruining my life, what a bad person I am, blah blah blah. It's okay to have a moment like that, but recognize that we only ever do things the way that for at that time either help us, protect us, make us feel safe, or otherwise work for us in some way. Right? So if you've been doing something for a while, it's because in some ways that was a successful strategy. And if now you have outgrown that, that does not mean beating yourself up. You didn't go to a tricycle as an adult and you're like, God, why did I ride you? You're so awful. You're kind of like, yeah, they're tricycles. Now I learned how to ride a bike. I don't feel any way about tricycles. I just don't particularly need one right now. Right? So it's the same thing here. Yes, maybe we made a whole bunch of stuff harder for ourselves than we needed to. Okay, well, we learned a lot from that. Now, maybe we don't need it. Now we go on to ease and flow. What does that kind of life look like? Because that sounds a heck of a lot more fun. And it's easier to get there when we're not beating ourselves up for making it hard in the past. Right? So flow with the current of your life. Check out, which aspect of you needs the most streamlining. Is it emotions? Do you have processes to deal with your emotions as they come up? That's going to be a big one. Actually, for our upcoming Healthy Hormones group program, there's going to be a special bonus where one of our coaches, Coach Katie, is creating an amazing bonus training for dealing with difficult emotions. And so if you are looking to join this last round of Healthy Hormones, where you can get functional testing for your hormones, your brain chemistry, the support, all of the lifestyle, supplement, individualization, all of that is going to be happening shortly. It kicks off in September, so CART will be open for just a short while. But keep an eye on that, because if you don't have processes, there are a whole bunch of ways to do that. And so, while we make it super easy for our ladies, you can absolutely do that for yourself, whether it's emotions, whether it's mental, whether it's your physical surroundings, whether it's who you are as kind of a spiritual being, whatever that means to you. All of that can be done with as much ease and flow as is available to you right now. And we can also trust that this is an unfolding process that we will interface with in new ways over and over and over and over inside our life. And that is super duper fun. That is really great growth, because as life feels easier, all this cycle stuff where the brain feels unsafe, and you've heard me talk about, the hypothalamus signaling to the hormone producing organs that we're not safe, so maybe we're skipping ovulation, which sets us up for PMS and really crampy, clotty periods and acne, right? All of those things, as we allow our brain to be like, it's not so serious, right? From yesterday. Oh, this can feel easy. This is all very streamlined. I know exactly where to go, right? That changes the output. So many of the people who are like, oh no, what food do I need to eat? I messed up again. I need to do AIP harder. That's the kind of stuff where if your own brain is going to be railing against the things that you're doing that make it so stressed out that it's like letting you know this does not work for me. I'm really stressed out by this. That will hinder healing way more than, okay, you had that gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan cupcake at your niece's birthday, and then now you beat yourself up for it for the last 2 weeks because you think that put you into a flare. Yes, food is important. We don't doubt that. We do that inside our programs. That's what Healthy Hormones is for. We teach from our standpoint, especially with our eating disorder history and orthorexia, like, what does it look like to look at your food while not triggering a bunch of this other stuff? That being said, when push comes to shove, the ease and flow and the fun will do some of that on its own. You're shifting the focus to what you want instead of what you don't want and trying to control it through food and then beating yourself up. So that is why, even though this sounds like, well, I can't have fun, I don't feel good yet, or I can't be streamlined for it to be easy because, look, it's been hard in the past. Those are the kind of beliefs that we want to identify, because if we think it's supposed to be hard, we're going to keep choosing for it to be hard. And we can choose, we totally have that capacity, but the question is, do you, personally, or me personally, do we want to choose that? And if the answer is no, we have options. All right, so streamlining, check out the companion guide for more questions around this and ways to get started. That's sdjournal.com/flow. And then a reminder, you are invited to our Ultimate Health, Hormone Health Blueprint series. It is a free video training that Megan and I do usually once a year. So this is the only time you'll get to do it in 2021. It may be retired in full from here on out, so I can't say for sure, but this is likely the last time that we'll be offering this free training. So if you or someone else is dealing with hormone problems, female issues, infertility, weight loss resistance, fatigue, mood disturbances, PMS, PCOS, endometriosis, chronic pain, all of those women are going to benefit from this Ultimate Hormone Health series, and it is going to be available just for that short period of time. So check that out in the show notes. We would love to see you there. And again, don't forget to swing by either Instagram or text us on our community app to let me know how it's going for you. I love, love, love hearing your stories. So thank you so much. All right, have a good day.
Thanks for coming out to hang with us on the podcast. It is our goal to transform the way women are treated in healthcare. And we need your help. We need your help to get the word out. We have a lofty goal of 1 million downloads. And we know that as this podcast grows, we're going to be able to reach more women, get more amazing speakers for you, and bring the most cutting-edge information.
If you found these podclasses helpful, please take a moment to text 5 women you know the link to the series. We appreciate your help so much. Can't wait to see you next time.